Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you haven't already, please make sure to like and subscribe and all that good stuff. We would really appreciate it. But yeah, that's kind of all I had for the intro section. I want to keep this quite short because I think today's topic is going to take me a wee while. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So I'm going to do what we normally do, and that is walk around and show you guys the fish while I talk, because it'll be more fun to look at and just talk over it. Of course, if you're listening on the podcast feed, you obviously won't be able to see what I'm showing you, but that doesn't matter because this is a audio-focused episode today. So the thing that I wanted to talk about today was about sort of, I don't know really how to explain, but like women's involvement in the hobby. It's something that I'm pretty conscious of because what I seem to run into a lot of the time is fish keeping gets a bit old boys clubby. So I've spoken to a few people, like a few women from about like maybe why they don't want to say come to the aquarium club meetings, or why maybe why they're a bit more reserved, might be a bit more reserved or a bit less active or a bit less vocal in the hobby than men obviously are. If you look around on, say, YouTube or social media or whatever, I think most people will notice that there definitely tends to be a lot more men speaking than women. And so in that, a lot of people would assume, oh yeah, fish keeping is a male sort of dominated space. And I've spoken to a few other, so this information I've spoken to some other people to cross-check it. But actually in my shop, in the Aquarium project, and in other shops, people actually have pretty consistently said that there tends to actually be more women than men in the hobby in that sense. Like, for example, coming into shops, like physical shops, buying / interacting with stuff on like online retailers, all that kind of thing. But I think there definitely is a shortage of female voices in this sort of space, in the more vocal and more active and more organized sense. Somewhere like aquarium clubs, for example, I've spoken to a few people who definitely feel it's a bit kind of scary, a bit like, old boys type of an environment, which obviously no one really wants to be a part of. And so that, I think, is a real shame, because we miss out on so many, like, good ideas and suggestions and, like, ways of thinking about stuff, and, like, obviously women should be involved in the hobby just as the same as anyone else. So this kind of thought that we're talking about today was sparked because I was thinking about something. So I'll show you. So that's my bicycle. I've been cycling to work, and cycling to work takes some time. So I have plenty of time to think, and I was thinking about why is it that I don't have many women keeping African cichlids. I would say, for the shop in general, there would be about a 60-40 split in favor of women in terms of like percentages of people that's coming in. Percentages of adults, kids, I haven't really counted. But in terms of like adults with, say, I don't know, even like older kids, say like 14 plus, 8 years old, there is definitely, I'd say, a 60-40 split in terms of like males to females, or females to males. But when it comes to the African cichlid side of things, I've got maybe 3 women customers, and like, I wouldn't even know how to count. It'd be like, maybe 1% is women, say. And I thought, that's really weird. I wonder why that is. How can I show women how cool African cichlids are? Because they're cool, they're bright, they're colourful. We all love African. Well, we all should love Africans. So I was like just thinking about it, and I was like, why isn't women's African cichlids a bit more, like women keeping African cichlids a bit more popular than, say, bedders, for example. A lot of women keeping bedders. When they're both bright, they're both colourful. Activity, like African cichlids are more active than a betta, which people seem to like the activity. So I was like, what's going on there? I wonder why. And the first thing I kind of stumbled across was the aggression levels and like the violence, and like in the sense that Africans can be a bit more grumpy and a bit more aggro with each other than, guppies or bettas or something like that. But then I thought, actually, are they more aggressive than bettas? I don't think so. And the other thing is, I also have plenty of women customers keeping, stuff like Oscars and parrotfish and like even flower horns and that kind of thing. Like, I have plenty of women keeping aggressive fish, just not African cichlids, just different aggressive fish. So I was like, no, that can't be it. Obviously, I don't know the answer. I just think I know. Like, I'm just a guy. Like, I'm just some random guy who talks about fish tanks. I don't know the answer, but I've been thinking about it, and I think, in my opinion, it seems like it's very, like, African cichlids is a very old school sort of area of fish keeping, or a very old school kind of part. Like, it's very, I don't know, I notice a lot of cichlid keepers are very, like, just generally old school, if that makes sense. Like, African cichlid keepers love their box filters, they love their under gravel filters, love their fluoro lights, like the fluorescent tube lights, like all this kind of stuff. And I think that is obviously part of what maybe deters women from getting involved in the African cichlid space. But I mean, in general, I think it's just one of those things where it's like, obviously, as life, it's kind of always been a male-dominated area. So I think it's hard for women to have a voice, if that makes sense, which I think sucks. It's so lame. Like, let's change that, eh? Why not? So, basically, what I am kind of thinking is, like, I'd love to just hear your guys' stories. If you're watching this and it's like, why don't you create content or like post on Facebook, or why don't you attend the fish clubs, or why are you hesitant to go to the fish store, that kind of thing? Because like I said, there definitely is a big difference between what a lot of store owners notice in their stores, in terms of demographics, compared to like what is perceived in terms of like specific areas like the African cichlids and that kind of thing. Some of the newer maybe not the best way of explaining, but like newer age areas of fish keeping, like for example the big aquascaping sort of movement that's going on. There is a lot more women involved in that than there is keeping African cichlids, but a lot of women might be keeping fancy goldfish. So it is a really interesting space that I'd really like to kind of find more information about, and I think we should start try and get a bit more of a discourse going in this space, because the more voices there are, the better, and automatically just ostracizing half the population is crazy. No one should do that. So obviously I can talk a lot, and I am talking, but sometimes it's one of those ones where it's like, you gotta walk the walk almost. Like, it's one thing for me to say it, so I didn't really know what to do. Like, I kind of wanted something to change, and I wanted to do something about it, but I just really didn't know what to do. So I was speaking to like my partner and stuff, and we had this. Well, I suggested it, and she said it's a good idea. So, hey, that's good news. But yeah, she suggested something that I have implemented already, and I thought it's kind of just a I guess small gesture to show that I mean it, I guess. But yeah, I don't know really. I'd be really interested to hear what you guys' thoughts. If there's other stuff I can do, please let me know. I'd love to do them. But yeah, I'll show you what I've done so far, and we can go from there, I suppose. So yeah, I'll cut to that now. So you come through here, and this is like the main entranceway, and then down here's the shop. But right here is this door that says staff only, and this is the bathroom. I probably will get another sign done, but yeah, this is the bathroom. And so we got this here, and obviously this is something I think about a lot anyway, but yeah, the bathroom is here. That's where all the packing boxes live. But obviously, any public bathroom is providing toiletries, like there's toilet paper in that if you need it. But I also just hung this little shelf here. Man, this is so weird recording in the toilet, but you know what I mean. I hung this little shelf here, and I have just put these little pads and tampons boxes on the shelf. Obviously, they're free to use for anyone who is in need, but I thought that would be a good idea because, yeah, I don't know, just trying to make it a bit more, make sense a bit more. I know it's a bit of a weird thing, but I don't know, I just thought it was a small little gesture to kind of show that it doesn't have to be an old boys club, and like women certainly invited to the party basically. So yeah, I hope that, I guess, is not too confusing for you all. But yeah, I think it is a good idea, and I just really think in general we need more female voices, need more women keeping African cichlids, all this kind of thing, because it this whole old boys club kind of mentality, gatekeeperiness that we got with fish keeping, it's definitely getting better, but I mean, we can always improve. And making sure that everyone feels invited and feels welcome is a super important thing. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. And I hope it sparked some thoughts. I was mentioning to some people earlier today. I think I was talking to some people about it. Some men who are very involved in fish keeping, and they hadn't noticed how like every fish store is owned by a man. There's very, very few like influences in the space that are women. How like African cichlids don't tend to have a very big sort of presence, women's presence, that kind of thing. And like I just found a lot of people hadn't even thought about it or like noticed. So I hope this maybe raises some, brings these things to the fore and like raises some thoughts, and hopefully it can start a conversation at the very least. Having a conversation is all we can really ask for. So yeah, I hope it helps. But yeah, if you're, well, anyone, but women in particular, I'd love to hear your experiences, your thoughts. Let me know what you think. If there's anything else I can do to make the shop a bit more welcoming, let me know. But yeah, otherwise, thank you all very, very much. I love you all so much. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.